What's up, everyone? Welcome to another trade recap from Thursday, 7th of August. I'm gonna go through the CRTs that we took. We obviously we had a euro setup, we had a GBP setup. I'm gonna show you what you could have done differently, maybe, and how it was should have been done correctly. So obviously, 4 hour time frame, we were clearly bullish. So we were preferably waiting for a CR low to be swept and then a CR high would be the target, or 5%. So as you can see here, for hourly, we're bullish. If we drop down to the hourly, we can see here we've got this hourly FVG. So obviously that's our point of interest. We've marked out the 1 p.m. hourly high, 1 p.m. hourly low. We then drop down into the 15 minutes. We marked our 15-minute high, 15-minute low. Again, the 50-minute candle that breaks this range, not just any random one. We ended up marking that one out. We then ended up sweeping that, okay? And as you guys can see, our initial entry lost, okay? Our initial entry lost just because of how the market was today. It was a bit slow, first of all. It was a bit slow, and it was a lot of bearish momentum, which we didn't really want if we're trying to go for buys. We kind of want bullish momentum to come along. So this was our initial entry at last off of this 1 minute order block. Then what you could have done is you would have seen that call. It's respecting this FVG, but we accumulated a lot of sell side. And because already the market kind of done us dirty, you could have taken another entry here, okay, with this order block maybe right over here. You could have maybe taken this entry, but then you would have lost again. What I would have done is I would have just waited just to see if this swept one more time. If it didn't sweep, then obviously you just would have missed out on the trade, but that's fine. Better than taking back-to-back losses, okay? So waited for this to sweep, and then obviously it did sweep. It then gave a bullish FVG in line with a order block, in line with a inverted FVG. So as the market came down right here, tapping into the bullish one and the inverted one, that could have been your entry. Stop loss just over here because again, no reason to place it down here because it should go up from here. And if it didn't go up from there, then it was just going to lose again. So save yourself a little few pips. And then again, your TP, go for a 1 to 5. Or if you wanted to make back the money that you lost on euro, you would have gone for a 1 to 1. Okay, you would have gone for a 1 to 1. So either one of those you could have done. Me myself, I just went for a 1 to 5 because we're up for the week quite nicely. So it just made sense for me to, you know what, let me go for a 1 to 5 because again, I was break even from the moment we broke past this level. Okay, from the moment we broke past this level, I was already break even, so it's already risk-free trade. So even if it did hit my break even, I would just finish the day with -1 on euro. Okay, so this is kind of how you could have done maybe things differently on euro. Okay, but even if you did take this trade here and you lost, you would have made your money back plus an extra 3% on this trade. So it doesn't really matter if you did take this one. If you didn't take this one, it doesn't really matter. You would still have gained something today. All right, so that's euro. Now, moving on to the other CRT trade that we had, which was GBP. Okay, which was GBP. So on the 4 hourly, you can clearly see we are bullish. Okay, going on to the hourly. Um, we have our hourly high. Oh, we have our hourly high. We've got our hourly. Wait, this is 2 p.m. Sorry, has to be 1 p.m. Here we go. We got a 1 p.m. low, and then we got our 1 p.m. high. There we go. And then obviously we have this 1 hour FVG right here, point of interest. Again, just like that. I don't know why this is not there. 1 hour point of interest. Okay, then we drop down into the 15. Check the 15 that swept that low. This was the 15-minute one right here. 15-minute high, 15-minute low. Dropping down into the 1 minute, what we can see that we initially had our entry over here. Okay, initially we had our entry over here, which again, this one ended up losing. Again, it's not always going to be winning trades, guys. This is real life. This is not just win, 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 win. So obviously this was our initial trade. As you can see, it lost pretty quickly. That's fine. Absolutely fine. We then didn't really end up getting anything here. We ended up going up a little bit, coming down, going up a little bit. For me to take this trade, I would have liked to go above at least this level. It would have been nice. So we just waited. And then um we ended up having obviously this order block right here. We ended up having this order block. We ended up having this bullish FVG right here in line with an inverted FVG. Okay. And with this one, could have been a bit risky to take this one, but just because the confluences that you had what? You had all of this sell side being swept, you had 50% of the FVG being tapped, you had an inverted FVG lining up with a normal FVG, and you had the order block level right there. So if you really wanted to, you could have taken this trade right here. Just because these two bullish candles, as you can see, we broke above this level right here. Yes, we're tapping into a bearish FVG, but on the other hand, you've got a lot more confluences for it to go up. You've got a bullish FEG, you've got an inverted bearish, you've got an order block, and you've got sell side just being swept right here. Okay, all of this sell side got swept. So a lot of confluences for us to go up. You could have taken it here. If you wanted to wait for a bit more of a confirmation of a bullish kind of trend, then you would have completely missed the trade. But if you just would have seen these little signs here and the positive compared to the negative signs, the positive outweighed the negative. So you could have taken it, but even if you didn't, it's fine. If you took the little cautious way, that's absolutely fine. Euro made your money back. But if you really wanted to, you could have still taken this. And as you can see here, you would have gained your 5% right there. But it's just because your positive confluences outweighed the negative. The only negative thing about the trade is that this high right here was rejecting off of a very small bearish FVG. But compared to the positive, what are the positives? You swept sell side. You've tapped 50% of the FVG. You've got a bearish inverted gap. You've got a bullish FVG, and you've got an order block. So you've got five positive confluences against one negative. So it kind of outweighs. So you could have taken the trade. If you wanted to be a bit more cautious and you wanted to wait, you could have waited, but you just would have missed out on the trade, which is absolutely fine. And then obviously, if you did take the trade, you would have gone break even from the moment you hit this level. So from the moment you went past this level, you would have gone break even, and then there's your extra 5%. So you could have gained 4% over here, and then you could have gained 4% on euro. Okay, so that's pretty much CRT breakdown for today. There were a couple of other trades that some of you guys took, and I took as well. As you guys know, I trade CRT and I trade previous day high, previous day low. There was a previous day high set up on gold. Okay, there was some confusion on the previous day high setup. Previous day high got swept around about here. If I go to the left, you can see this is Wednesday's high. Okay, so Wednesday's high got swept around about here. There was a bit of a confusion because a lot of people took this trade right here. All right, they took this trade right here. They counted this as a breaker structure, and then they had this bearish FVG over here. When I went live, I did explain why I wouldn't have taken this. I'm not going to go into too much detail as well because I already kind of explained it. But it's just basically because number one, I didn't really like this breaker structure because it was very weak in my opinion. Number two, we were rejecting a bullish FVG. Okay, we were rejecting a bullish FVG. So for me to take this trade, I would have liked the bullish FVG to become disrespected. It didn't become disrespected, okay? And it ended up just going up higher. So me personally, I didn't end up taking this trade. But again, if you did take it, it's absolutely fine. If you classified this as a strong enough breaker structure, you could have taken it. That's absolutely fine. You just would have lost the trade, which is absolutely normal. Happens, okay? But that's just something to keep an eye out. You don't have to keep an eye on it. It's just something I'm a bit OCD with the trades that I take. So sometimes because I'm a bit OCD with the entries, I miss a lot of winning trades, but I also miss a lot of losing trades as well. So it's not something that you have to do and it's going to help you gain an extra 10% a month. That's not the case. It's just maybe sometimes it's going to make you miss out on losing trades, but also you need to understand that sometimes it's going to make you miss out on winning trades as well. So that's pretty much with the gold setup. Okay. And then obviously we also had a US 30 trade. Okay, we had a US 30 trade. If you can see here, this is previous day high. All right. A lot of people, when we swept previous day high right here, a lot of people again counted this as a breaker structure. I didn't really like this just because for me, this is just one big move. I didn't really like this level as a breaker structure. And then again, you need to know the difference between what does a winning trade look like and what does a losing trade look like. Normally with previous day high, we don't really get a breaker structure this far away from the entry. So the entry would have been up here. All right. We don't normally get the entry and the breaker structure so far apart because this bearish move here, that's the move that we were supposed to be in. So since it's already done that and very weak breaker structure, I didn't take this one as well. Okay, I just waited. But again, I didn't mind if it missed out on a winning trade, but I just was like, you know what, it doesn't really look right. Let me just wait. And luckily enough, I waited. It ended up sweeping one more time. And then we ended up getting our entry right over here. So you had either this level or this level as your breaker structure. Okay, right here. We then ended up having our fair value gap right here, which you can see rejected perfectly. But you can see the difference between this setup and this setup. This setup, breaker structure, tapped entry pretty much straight away. Obviously, stop loss at the swing high, and then your TP at a 1 to 2. And you can see here you would have just won the trade, right over here. So you would have made your money back on the gold one, and you would have gained an extra 1%. Okay, so that's pretty much the breakdown on the previous day high trades. But again, it doesn't, again, US 30 here, no exceptions. No one should have really taken this one. With the gold one, it's fine if you did take that gold one that I showed you, but with the US 31, you definitely shouldn't have taken this. This is definitely a very weak setup. But with the gold one, it's just personal preference, really. So it doesn't matter if you lost that trade, if you won that trade, it doesn't really matter because then you would have won this one and then happy days. So that's pretty much the trade breakdown for today. Not a bad day. We had 2% over here. Obviously, the gold one lost. We then ended up having these nice trades right here. I know a lot of people didn't catch this because I ended up coming off of the live as soon as we lost. But then obviously if you stayed attentive, there was possible for re-entries over here, 5% over here, and 5% over here. So yeah, hopefully that clears things up. But again, if you guys have any questions, just message me on the VIP chat about any of the examples or any kind of thing that I spoke about in today's video. But yeah, other than that, man, that's pretty much today's trade recap done. And yeah.